Trust is the foundation of everything we build, but when that foundation starts to shake, it's usually because of the things we aren't being told. If she's suddenly staying late for urgent projects, or a specific coworker's name is popping up in every single conversation, your gut isn't just being paranoid, it's picking up on a shift. Most men miss the subtle psychological boundary crossing until it's too late. They wait for proof, but by then, the emotional connection has already moved elsewhere. Today, we're breaking down the 7 subtle signs she's moving from professional to personal at the office. This is about spotting the patterns before they become permanent. Let's get into it. Number 1 is the emergence of a workplace hero. Pay attention to how she talks about her colleagues. Is there one specific man who seems to be the answer to every problem? Maybe she starts saying things like, "Mark is the only one who really gets how stressful this project is," or "I don't know what the team would do without him." When she starts creating a them versus the world bond, she's essentially building an emotional island where you aren't invited. This kind of exclusive emotional intimacy is often the first step across the line. The second sign is the new uniform. We all want to look professional, but notice the intent behind the effort. Has she recently upgraded her work attire, started wearing a new perfume, or spending significantly more time on her hair specifically for office days? The red flag here is the contrast. If she's putting in maximum effort for the office but returns home and immediately switches to comfy clothes or seems disinterested in looking nice for your time together, there's a mismatch in where she's placing her desire to be attractive. If the best version of her is reserved only for the 9 to 5, you have to ask yourself who she's really dressing for. Moving to number 3, the privacy pivot. This is one of the most common issues we see in our community. Healthy relationships thrive on transparency, but suddenly, work privacy becomes a wall. Is she taking urgent work calls in the other room? Has she changed her laptop password or started flipping her phone face down when a notification pops up? Often, she'll justify this by saying she's protecting company data or respecting professional boundaries. But if she's never cared about data security before, and suddenly she's guarding her devices like a vault, it's rarely about the company. It's about the conversations. Sign number 4 is a quiet one, the venting stop. Think back. Did she used to come home and tell you everything? The office drama, the annoying boss, the small wins. If she's suddenly quiet about her day, it usually means she's already vented. She shared that emotional energy and those stories with someone else before she even walked through the front door. When a woman stops sharing the small details of her day with you, it's often because someone else is already filling that role of the active listener. Number 5 is the defensive comparison. This is a subtle psychological tactic used to deflect guilt. When you ask a simple question like, "How was your day?" or "Who were you grabbing lunch with?" she reacts with intensity. You'll hear things like, "Why are you always interrogating me?" or "Mark is just a professional mentor, you're being insecure." By turning your curiosity into a character flaw like jealousy or insecurity, she stops you from asking the questions she doesn't want to answer. It's a smokescreen designed to make you back off. Sign number 6, unscheduled productivity. We've all had to work late occasionally, but look for the patterns that don't match the job. Are there sudden, last-minute breakfast meetings? Is she staying for debriefing drinks multiple times a week with a small group that always includes the same person? If these events aren't part of her usual company culture and they've started out of nowhere, they are often just excuses to spend time in a safe professional setting where their closeness isn't questioned. Finally, sign number 7, the inside joke barrier. This is about emotional exclusion. When she mentions a situation from work, laughs, and then says, "You just had to be there," or "It's too hard to explain," she is highlighting the gap between your world and her work world. These small moments are intended to remind you that there is a part of her life you don't understand, and that someone else does. It's a way of signaling that her deepest rapport is no longer happening at home. Look, these signs aren't definitive proof on their own, but they are patterns. Relationships are built on honesty, and if you're seeing these shifts, it's time for a calm, direct conversation. Have you noticed any of these workplace shifts lately? What was the moment your gut told you something was off? Drop a comment below. This community is here to listen and share. And if you want to know what to look for next, make sure to watch our breakdown on the 6 physical signs she just slept with someone else. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp, stay aware, and I'll see you in the next one.